Welcome back, y'all. Last week we talking about some good pivotal topics that I hope y'all took some nuggets from and placed them in y'all back pocket. And if not y'all back, at least put them in the front. So this week I want to keep that locomotive train going. He has spoke on creating a vision. That can be anything, right? It doesn't have to necessarily just be confined to financial stability. You may have the nudge or the urge to, become a better partner, right? Or, become a better sibling, become a better family member, become a better friend. Be the best you can be on a job. You may want to show up differently in the world. So you have the space and the opportunity to, change, the reality of whatever you want to change. But we just understand and know that with change comes action. You can't just say you want, better for yourself and not actually do better for yourself. And, I was thinking to myself, what's more raw and real than that? And that's sitting in your come up. Right? Sitting in the reality of your hardships. On the other side of that, you come out a new person, right? You come out a new creation. You may have learned new information, picked up a new skill, touched a new milestone or a new stepping stone that you essentially never seen yourself, overcoming. When you're on a journey to inner and outer elevation, change doesn't necessarily feel good, but you put mind over emotion and understand that, okay, this is purpose driven. Right? I'm not doing this for no reason. My pain has a purpose. My struggle has definition. Your perspective starts to switch. And I believe we fall short at sometimes is sweetening our harsh realities, right? And how do we sweeten them? Sometimes we may tend to void fill. We may start to, make decisions out of impulsivity or, or out of that discomfort that lead us to our setbacks. On this journey, we start to experience things like cognitive dissonance and spiritual warfare. When talking about, renewal, when talking about transformation, that's essentially what you're doing. You're breaking down old patterns, breaking down old belief systems, or just breaking down, your old self to invite this new creation. There's going to be pushback. There's going to be struggle. There's going to be, a tug of war. But, to bring it back and to talk about, the importance of sitting in your come up is because, when you're not embracing your journey fully, you miss out on your transformation. When you look in the mirror, when you get alone, when it's just you versus you, tell yourself the truth, right? Don't lie to yourself. If you're struggling, admit to yourself that you're struggling. If you're hurt, admit to yourself that you're hurt. If you don't like your situation, admit to yourself that you don't like your situation. There's virtue of being self-aware on the inside, just as important as it is, being self-aware on the outside, right? Pay attention to yourself, right? Pay attention to why you do things. Start paying attention to your behaviors. Start paying attention to your patterns, because it's in that moment that you start controlling what you can change. When you are self-aware, right, and you are embracing that come up, it starts to eliminate the urge to get up out of your discomfort. When you're so quick to get out of your discomfort, yes, on the outside, stuff may continue to move, but on the inside, right, certain tools and plugins that you need, you don't got it, because you wouldn't take the time to be patient and learn, right? You don't take the time to just sit and be still. In that sitting and that breaking, ironically, it strengthens us. Right? We learn how to surrender ourselves to certain things. At the end of the day, that's what's of value. That's what's of importance. We need to start looking at, who we are now and who we're becoming, not necessarily at our achievements. I can be on my path and on my way to be a multimillionaire, but on the inside, I'm as evil and cold-hearted as they come. What good is it? I can have all I want in the world, but on the inside, I'm still the same person I was in high school. What good am I? What is the point of gaining all things materialistic if on the inside I'm dead and I can't even enjoy it for real? So it's kind of like, in that breaking of you becoming, who you need to become. In a sense, God starts to, fill you in or, plug you in on things that you need. So sitting in your come up may look like you going from, heartbroken to heal, lustful to loving and disciplined, being bitter to being kind and forgiving, or being an all-time gossiper to being someone who is trustworthy, or someone who is just respects other people's privacy. Hateful to, again, loving, or just irritation and chaos to becoming someone who is peaceful, who is joyful, or going from someone who's experienced sadness, anger, aggression, to on the flip side of that, becoming someone of gentleness, being able to receive and dish out love, just showing others mercy, right? Showing yourself mercy, showing yourself grace. Who are you becoming while thriving and striving for a better reality for yourself? So if we don't already, and I'm going to always say it, find value in building a relationship with God. And then once you build it, maintain it and strengthen it. Because if we understand, God is spiritual. We are spiritual, right? We're spiritual beings. We consist of mind, body, and soul. Mind is logic. Our body is physical and our souls are spiritual. Who are we connecting ourselves with? That will keep us aligned in all three areas. As I'm taking action, building my empire, how do I maneuver in the world? And while scenario come up, figure out ways of how to, become content with your process. Content just means being in a state of happiness and satisfaction. Understanding that, yes, you have a level that you want to get to, but the fact that you're not there, you're not going to burn yourself out or, think you're less than because you aren't where you want to be. You accept that, this is a stepping stone towards where I want to be. What are some things that I can be grateful for in the moment? What are some things that I can be thankful for in the moment? What is it that I can control? What is it that I can surrender? What is it that I can let loose? Fall in love with your journey. Understand that, you're going to go through highs, and understand that you're going to go through lows. But when in doubt, let it all develop you. Hopefully in those moments, you start to kill comparison. We shouldn't want what other people have. We don't know what they had to do to get it. I'm going to end it off on this. If we're going to go through something, let's get something from it. Let our pain be purposeful, right? We understand that, it's not going to rain forever. We're not going to be in this situation forever. So I'm going to see y'all Thursday. And Thursday, I'm going to have something even more better for y'all than what I did today. Peace. Trust in me. I can't, you said I can't trust in you.